Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 1st meeting of the Richmond Selectboard. Start off with any public comment? Any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? Okay, on to the main agenda. Reminder about upcoming budget meetings. We have one on Monday, December 8th, and then we have a final review of the budget on Tuesday, January 6th. There'll still be room for some tweaking after the January 6th meeting. So it's not purely an information session, but we would like to have it fairly nailed down because it gives us limited time to make any drastic changes. So if you have any drastic changes you would like to provide us, December 8th meeting would be the time to do it. Anything to add, Josh?
It's good.
Next, we have an update on the process to fill our vacant seat. Well, this is Caitlin's seat. I guess it'd be the one down the end. Do you want to give an update on that, or you want to read through dates?
Aaron, your lights are in your truck. Aaron Farr just texted.
Yeah,
Want me to run down, turn them off?
just leave them on. It'll go for hours.
It'll be okay. I got jumper cables if we need it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's time for a bunch of new batteries anyway. Tell Aaron, thank you.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Okay.
It should turn off automatically, so I don't really know.
Yeah, but then it won't start.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's weird. Oh,
Adam's lights are on.
Anyway.
That's what we're
Right,
going
left
about.
lights-
We're here gonna
left the
check.
automatic
Lights are
lights.
on, so we're trying to
Um,
solve that for him so he can drive home tonight. All right, so we're at
yes, we have,
the select board.
do you want me to go over the dates or do you want to do that?
Either way.
I guess I can go over the dates. So we have, there's three dates that are important. So the first one would be Wednesday, December 10th, which is the date that letters of interest are due to the town manager. The next date would be December 11th, which is the day that those letters of interest will be posted publicly. And then December 15th at our regular select board meeting, we will review those letters and make a selection or an appointment, I guess, as a select board. All those, so letters of interest and letters of support for people who are interested can all go to the town manager and will be posted on the 11th.
Well, letters of support can come in after the 10th, once people see who
Sure.
has posted, so. The ones that'll be posted online are the letters of interest, and we'll provide letters of support, in the packet for the select board to meeting on the 15th.
Is that clear? That makes sense? Good.
Yes, since it's germane to this item, I would like to present the board with my letter of interest in the open position. There's a sufficient number of copies to share, and I will send Josh a copy of that.
Greg, can you say your name just
Sure, for the record, my name is Greg Rabideau. I live on Snipe Iron Road.
awesome. Thank you, Greg. Does anyone else have any questions, comments, input? Next, we have an update on the completion of ethics training and signing of the ethics acknowledgement forms by committee members and staff. So this has been an ongoing update. Give us the most recent numbers.
Yeah, I'll pull those up. I haven't had a ton of change since the last review of this, unfortunately. Continue to send out reminders and ask committees to talk about it in their meetings.
They were not on.
No.
They even looked inside and make sure the interior lights were.
Aaron just testing us to see how we would handle it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so
There's nobody parked.
you see the note, the numbers on the bottom are from 2 weeks ago, and then 11/25 is last week when we posted the agenda. I think the only one that really, well, I don't think much has changed. I think volunteers went up a tick from 68 to 69%. Everything else is somewhat maintained level. And don't get those continue to remind individuals and remind department heads, or staff is pretty good. I think the only staff we're missing are a couple of very part-timers. But it continues to remind committee members and committee chairs.
Seems we have stalled.
I think we have, yeah.
So, yeah. When I see a plateau in the data like that, I have to start asking questions. Is this just unaware? Or is there some reason people aren't doing this?
I don't think it's unaware. Duncan, for months now, has been sending out reminders individually to people as well as to committee chairs to get people to
So
sign
does that
form.
mean there are people that aren't doing this by choice?
Potentially, I mean, if that would one conclusion, or, hopefully people have taken the time to watch the ethic, the training video is the long part of it.
Yeah.
So maybe people just haven't made the time for it, but we've had 8 or 9 months of reminders now, I think. When this was first adopted in March.
Maybe we should ask Duncan and or the committee leads and or the people who have yet to sign it, why they have
Yeah.
not yet signed it,
There's something
since
we're
we
not
don't
seeing.
actually know.
We could ask that and come back with what we find out.
Yeah.
Is there any way, I know we had talked about this at previous meetings too, but to get an update, I can get these numbers broken out, by people who are statutorily required to complete this by the state and people who are not.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could, but our policy says that
Yeah,
everybody needs to do it. And this
True.
reply from the state was that there's really no enforcement.
true.
They said that basically what you would do is take it into consideration if there was ever an ethics complaint filed against someone, if they had or had not signed the form and done the training.
So the only way to have enforcement would be to update our ethics policy to put an enforcement mechanism in there.
That's correct.
Anything else?
Perhaps we should ask this question of new appointments or members. Would you be willing to take the ethics training and sign the ethics form? As part of our sort of
Yeah.
interview or onboard.
Yeah. We need to be proactive and not reactive.
Question if we can publish the list.
I think we could publish a list if you wanted to. It could include the list of names for the next meeting, if that's the will of the board in the public packet. Let people know that if they don't comply by the next meeting, it's gonna be
I would argue that
Published.
it's public record, so.
Yeah,
looking
I
at a
mean,
public
I
record.
don't see why we wouldn't.
If somebody asked for it, we'd give it to them, right?
Yeah. And, I'm not saying this to shame people, but it's public record, so if people wanna see it.
good.
So we're gonna include it in the packet for the next
I
meeting.
think we do. I mean, I
Maybe email it this week, and let people know if you don't want to be on the list, get it done.
Yeah.
That might be a motivator.
They're already on the list.
Yeah, heads up. Just, so to inform your own decision-making and behavior, the list will be posted for the next meeting.
Yeah.
That might be a motivator. Hopefully it would be.
So I guess Duncan will review all this. But
Yeah,
do you want to confirm with him if we can reach out and see, we can get any input on why people are not signing it, whether it's philosophical disagreement with ethics or
Which is.
I think
Yeah.
a time constraint? I mean, any of those are,
yeah, I think we can.
No,
easily-
they're all probably very valid reasons, but yes, I think the
Sorry,
natural
Duncan.
consequence is you publish it, so it's fine. Yeah, there's different people don't do it for different reasons.
gotcha. Have you received any feedback or is it kind of just been one or two anecdotal things?
No, I think there's a few anecdotal things. Once again, I do try to remind everyone we're like a million miles away where we were a year ago. So this wasn't even like considered like a year ago. So we've gotten very far in 1 year. And then, yes, we can start to drill down to all the little different things. But like most anything, it's not one reason. It's just many little different personal reasons why it doesn't get done. But I don't think it's,
Sure.
one specific reason. It's many different ones.
Thank you, Duncan. Anyone else have anything else on the ethics training?
Can I just want to say from, on the 4th of July, committee, and I think part of it is computer access for some of our members. So that is, I might be going to someone's house tomorrow. And working with them.
Great.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, the training is definitely online. Frustrating. If anyone needs to sign the form, you can do that in person in the town office. But the training is unfortunately online only, I believe.
Yeah.
And there are opportunities to use the library, and I can set people up in the conference room B or C if they need to do it too as well. I always reach out to people when they need to do it.
Great. Next, we have a consideration of reducing the size of the 4th of July Parade and Fireworks Committee. You want to speak to this?
My name is Sue Glennon. I'm the chairperson of the parade committee. We had the 7 members. We have downsized it because we have a lot of volunteers named on the list. So we're all set to go with that.
So you guys have a list of names of people, you talked about this in the last meeting, right? So you have a list of folks that would like to stay on the committee.
Yes.
So I could give that to the board if you guys want to make an official motion to reduce it to 7 with these members being on the committee.
Awesome.
And then I have a question. So if we have 7 members, how many do we need to make a quorum? Is that 4?
4.
Okay, that's what we thought. So just clarifying that.
Yeah, and of course, the other members, I think you're at like 12 right now.
Yeah.
So
we kind of.
the other members who are not in the 7 can still attend every meeting, volunteer all they want. It just reduces your need for a quorum. So we're not trying to discredit anybody's volunteerism for the event, but trying to like make it a little easier to have your meetings. People are out of town or can't attend. So, so the list that I got was Harlan Stockwell, Tom Carpenter, Sue Glennon, Justin Spence, Rebecca Roos, Julie Whalen, and Stephanie Hartsfield would be the 7 members.
Awesome.
Pass me that so I can make the motion.
You got it.
Correct.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So I would like to make a motion to set the committee size of the 4th of July Parade and Fireworks Committee to 7 members. Those members being Harlan Stockwell, Tom Carpenter, Sue Glennon, Justin Spence, Rebecca Roos, Julie Whalen, and Stephanie Hartsfield.
This is Bart. I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I just want to thank the committee for everything you do. It's, the 4th of July is kind of Richmond's big to do and something that we need to be proud of as a community. Thank you. It's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
Calling it to a vote. Bart?
Bart, aye.
David, I.
Caitlin, I.
Caitlin?
Caitlin, I.
Adam, aye. Got it. Thank you.
Voted twice.
Sorry, delay.
Hopefully that makes it a little easier. If it doesn't, feel free to come back and ask for further tweaks. We're more than willing to help out.
This is great. It's been the core members and, yeah, but you know, Sue's been doing this for how many years?
36 years.
36 years. And, it's been wonderful, the volunteers and the dedication. So, it's pretty special. And, you know, having the town now involved for the past 3 years has been really tremendous.
Yes. And we wanted to continue. It's community. It's so many people that have helped us over the years, you know, and it's for the kids. You know,
Yeah.
I had 3 generations. Help. You know, I snagged all of the grandchildren, kids, you know, friends. And I just wanted to keep going. We just don't have enough money to do right anymore.
That's the next agenda. Oh, I'm sorry.
So on to our next agenda item. Great segue. We have a consideration or discussion of using funds from the 4th of July Celebration Reserve Fund to partially pay for the 2026 July 4th fireworks.
Yeah, so our request is to put the fireworks in the town budget as originally planned. And not put it through Australian ballot. So that is our request. And just wanted to have some of the talking points about the community that Sue mentioned, and also the revenue that it brings our town. So part of it is, this year is gonna be the 250th anniversary of our country. Probably not the best year to not do fireworks. And the 4th of July celebration brings over 10,000 people into our community. And this, you know, there's a lot of division right now, and this is the one place that brings all of our community together. This is a free event. Not everything that we do as a town is free. Not everyone can access this. People can carpool, they can, you know, get rides here. Not every time, not all the town things are accessible to people. So this is one thing that brings people together, and it's a free event to give back to our community. This event, 4th of July, David said it, that, you know, this makes Richmond desirable. This makes, you know, people want to come here, makes people want to live here, and we don't want to take away the charm and character of our town. This is part of what makes Richmond. Second piece is the revenue. We know that businesses get 3 times revenue on that 4th of July, all day, all night. So this also contributes to our taxes. When people visit the gas station, when they go to the market, when they go to the restaurants. And nighttime businesses, just to name a few, is, you know, Popham Keys, Stone Corral, Stone Road, Big Spruce, Cumbies, Mobile, Richmond Market. And the other part is the community contribution. Like as Sue mentioned, this is going up on 40 years. It's all volunteer led. We raise funds, and not only do we raise funds, but there's companies that provide donations for free. PNP Septic. This is a big day for everyone. So for them to donate, you know, a couple $1,000s worth of equipment to put in, use, and take out is remarkable. And then Costella, all the trash, the recycling, and the composting. Northfield Savings Bank, $1,000, and we named the fun run after them. So it's a big community event, and we just would like to see it stay right now this year. We can talk about going forward in other years, but this year, keeping it in the town budget and not going to Australia ballot.
PNP Septic has donated toilets for 35 years, and that's a lot of money. And he drops them off, picks them up, and it's amazing. When you call up and they say, how many do you want? That's what it's all about.
And I think it's a testament to, you know, being a community member and people wanting to help out and donate. Like, it's, as Sue said, we want to have this continue, you know, going forward, you know, with the cost of fireworks and tariffs and et cetera. We can maybe talk about that for the following years, but for this year being the 250th anniversary, this is probably not the year to not do fireworks, you know, to bring this community together as a free event for the kids.
Jean, do you have something to add?
No, I just have a question. So
Go for
it's Jean Haskin, and I'm just curious as to why you wouldn't want it on Australian ballot.
Our point of view is that it hasn't been, the town took over the fireworks costs 3 years ago, and it's never been on the ballot before. I think the reason that the select board can correct me, but I think it's because the cost went up this year due to tariffs. And so we're getting the minimum amount that we can do to guarantee that we get a slot on 4th of July. You know, Bolton does the weekend after. So there's, you know, we support, you know, Richmond and other people coming to town. Again, it's that crowd of $10,000, 10,000 visitors throughout the day. But for just to keep it as it has been, and as it originally was proposed.
So I guess what you're saying basically is it could.
I think we lost you, Jean. Anyone else have anything else to add? How do we want to do this? Or do we do it at a we would probably talk about this at our budget meeting, and that's where we would decide how to
Yeah,
put it in, right? So that'll be a week from today.
if we utilize the $7,000 from the reserve fund, that would put it in line with close to what we spent in the last 3 years.
It went from $15,000 last year. Because of the tariffs, it went up to 22,000.
Is
And the bottom line is, we could have the show for $15,000, we wouldn't be on the 4th of July. And if somebody came in and bumped us because they had more money to spend on fireworks, we wouldn't have them at all.
Yeah.
And so, that's a big deal, you know, we just wanted to continue.
if we were to use the $7,000 from the reserve fund and then come up with the 15 in the budget or whatever, how does that leave you as a committee for expenses in the 4th of July?
We have $1,700 left.
And is
And
that,
so
is that workable, not workable?
we do a coin drop in the spring, and we are allowed to do 2. But we'll just figure it out, you know, that's what we usually do.
So I think right now the balance of the reserve fund is about $8,600. I think you said you might be able to raise about $3,000 on 2 coin drops.
$1,000 on a coin drop if it doesn't rain. This year it was rained on.
Right, so assuming $3,000 more dollars, it gives you about $4,600 for expenses if you use $7,000 to go towards fireworks. Which I think you said is usually about what you spend, or at least you spend a little less than $4,600. So
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends how, like, you get a lot of games for the kids and
Yep.
face painters and all kinds of things like that.
We do a lot of free things that we absorb the cost for, so it's like free face painting, free bouncy houses, free kids activities with prizes. So it's no cost to people because we want to keep it affordable. We are also going to do a heavier asking campaign for some of the businesses that we haven't already tapped into. And last year, Northfield did a great job when we renamed it the Northfield Fun Run. So we're looking at sponsorship opportunities for other businesses to help with that. Because we definitely want to keep this a free event that is accessible to everyone.
So it just seems to me the topic before us is really this year, right? It's 2026. I mean, that's the warrant topic. And so the question is, do we want to, I think, as I understand it, do we want to use 7,000 from the reserve fund, right? Isn't that the question for this year?
That is an option unless did you tentatively approve last time? Was it $15,000 or $22,000?
So the last discussion at the budget meeting was putting the full $22,000 on the ballot.
For next year.
Yeah.
Well, for,
this year.
so the next fireworks, right? So for so the fireworks
Right.
in 2026, which
Right.
are FY 27. That isn't confusing enough. So you could keep it with 22,000 on the ballot. You could split 7,000 from the reserve fund, put 15 on the ballot, put 15 in the budget, or put 22 in the budget. There's a few options.
Yeah, I have a question. It has never been on the ballot before, and what is the impetus for now putting it on the ballot?
I think the discussion with the select board at that meeting was, well, because it went from 15 up to 22,000, that's quite a big raise. You know, do we want to ask this question separately from the regular warrant budget to see if that's something the taxpayers want to support, similar to the charitable donations or the conservation reserve fund? So that was my recollection of it. If the board has any other.
Broadly, my recollection also.
I would only observe over most of those years, you could talk about it at a town meeting and go amend it up or down, but we can't do that anymore. So if you want input from the voters, the only way to really do it is to put it on the ballot. And I'm not sure I have an opinion yet on this one, but I will say we have over time put more items on the ballot, like some of the donations that used to be just embedded in the budget are now voted on ballot. So we've had other people come over time and just ask for sort of more voice or transparency of things. My gut is that there's a significant majority in favor of this. It's just sort of like the conservation fund. People were vocal that they wanted to be able to vote on that. And then I don't know what the actual vote was, but it was a significant majority in favor.
Up until 2 years ago, we never took a penny from the town.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit and then
Yeah.
our members were older and we couldn't get younger members. So it's really hard for me to sit here and ask.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to having the checkbook and writing the check.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Aaron, do you have something to say?
I was just wondering if there's a GoFundMe set up, and if not, is there a reason why we can't do something like that?
We think that's a great question, Erin. We do have a GoFundMe set up and we have a QR code. So when we do the coin drop, we also hand out the QR code because a lot of people don't have cash on them. So we want to make sure that that's easy to do. But yes, we do that. Great question.
Can you send that QR code out so we can post it at a meeting ahead of time too, so some businesses and stuff can post it? So I
Yeah.
know
Absolutely.
the cards at the 4th of July are easy to lose and stuff. So if they're posted around town, maybe we'll get more traction.
Sure, I can send that to
Yeah.
Duncan.
Send it to Duncan or Josh and we can.
Yeah, that would be great. So my follow-up question about putting the whole amount on the ballot would be, why not put what we already said we were gonna pay going forward, which is that 15? And then anything that costs more, then that would be the overage. So if we commit as a town to pay 15, anything over it, then it would go to vote.
I think that just gets a little funky, because if the budget passes with 15 in it and the 7,000 fails, then we have 2/3 of a fireworks show that we can't buy. Or we go to the reserve fund at that point, maybe for the 7,000. Which could be an option. If 7,000 fails, you go to the reserve fund to pay for it this year. Maybe that's the way.
Because we are talking about 2027, right? Because we already bought the budget.
26.
We're talking about the show in 26 for FY 27, so 4 days into the new fiscal year.
Fiscal year starts July 1st, so that would technically be FY 27.
So can you repeat that option, Josh? What about,
Well, I mean, if you want to put 15 in the budget and 7 on the ballot,
yeah,
then you'd have to have a plan for if the 7,000 on the ballot fails.
Mhm.
Then I think that plan might be that then you pull that out of the reserve fund. Because if the budget passes with 15, you're gonna have 15 to go towards fireworks, but you need 22. So that's, we're coming up with 7 or 8 options now. Not that there's 2 or 3, but there's a lot of options, I
Yeah.
guess.
Gretchen has a question.
Gretchen?
So if you put the 15,000 on the budget, and then you see how much you get through GoFundMe and through the coin drop. And then if you get enough, you're set to go. If you need a little bit more, then you can look at the reserve fund. At that point in the spring to say, okay, you made 5,000, we just need 2,000 more.
Right, but you have to make a decision on the budget, on the ballot item by really mid-January.
Right, so if you put 15,000 on there,
Oh, okay, sorry, you went back to the,
and then they're raising money between now and July for the rest
Oh, I see.
of 15,000 that they would need
so you say put 15 in the budget or on the ballot item?
in the budget.
In the budget, okay, and then come up with the other 7 through fundraising or existing funds and noting, put anything on the ballot, okay.
That's a good idea.
That's sort of saying, I mean, that's essentially saying we'll use 7,000 out of the fireworks fund.
If we have to.
Can't do that.
Well, but I mean, anything you raise is gonna go into that fund.
Yeah.
So it would,
Right.
it would all sort of be the same money at the end of the day anyway, it would just, yeah, if you raise, yeah.
I think we need to move on. We will have a plan on Monday, a week
Yeah.
from today. We'll
Okay.
have to have a plan.
Great.
We need to put it on paper.
That's the budget day.
So,
we'll be back. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Appreciate it. And feel free to volunteer.
Any volunteers are really, really, Appreciate it. I just want to say thank you for all the people.
Can you
that
generate a
been
list
part
of,
it.
can you generate a list of jobs that you need volunteers for? That we can get that out and maybe,
For recruitment.
yeah.
That's great.
Next we have a review of our annual report for the All-Hazards Mitigation Plan. Want to give us that?
Yes,
This is Josh.
put this close to the traffic calming options because we have Pete with us if he wants to add anything to this, but I'll share the screen. This is an annual report that we do for activities that we did in 2024 to go towards the all-hazard mitigation plan. Most of it is a lot of road work. So you kind of get down into the meat of the report here. This is right here. Report on progress in calendar year 2024 for road work. So you see the long list of items that Pete's done. A lot of this is in response to the flooding. So when he has a chance to stone line a ditch after flooding, he'll do that. When he has a chance to upgrade a culvert, he'll do that. All that goes in towards the all hazard mitigation plan, which is improvements to try to mitigate hazards going forward. Did I miss any highlights? We also have the ongoing hydraulic study of the Winooski River, which also is a result of grant funding from the flooding. So we're kind of moving forward on this as a result of hazards, trying to make sure that we're better prepared for the next one. So thanks to Pete and his crew for always doing a little bit more whenever they repair something. So if there's questions, we can try to answer them, but it's really just an annual requirement that we do the report, present it to the board, and we'll have another one for you for 2025 shortly.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? I do not. That's pretty straightforward.
Pretty much is, yep.
Next, we have discussion of traffic calming options for the intersection of Thompson Road, Huntington Road, Bridge Street, and Cochran Road. This is a follow-up of our previous discussion about speed humps in front of Stone Corral, which was a follow-up to our previous discussion about traffic calming measures at the intersection of Thompson Road, Huntington Road, Bridge Street. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it sort of brings us full circle back to, I guess it was 2023 when we started to look at some traffic calming options for that intersection. I'll share my screen to refresh memories on the presentation. So there was this planning study done in conjunction with CCRPC. The two alternatives that came out of that was putting in a teardrop mountable island at the end of Huntington Road. Hopefully we'll zoom in a little bit. With that came some additional curbing to help guide traffic through this section. The other option was I thought I had it. Let me see. There's a four-way stop option. Of course, I'm going too fast here. I think this was the four-way stop option, which also had some bumping out of the curbs and bumping out of the sidewalks to create a little bit more of a narrow intersection here with four-way stops. Each option came with some cost, obviously. The base cost for the four-way stop is 100,000, but as you add in all the additionals, I think it was closer to 150. The mountable island starts at 72. As you add in all the additional pieces, it was a little less than 150. So, or a little more, sorry. So the mountable island was more expensive. Four-way stop was less expensive. The board initially wanted to try to get some information on construction costs and for the grants out there, but that was fairly quickly stopped by some public feedback and reconsideration by the board to try to see what can we do in that intersection with some paint and some signage. I know Pete and his crew did include some additional paint for stop bars, cut some trees back to try to make that a little bit more visible. I'm not sure if there's much more we can do on the low cost end. And then that sort of led us to the speed hump, which was discussed a couple meetings ago that the board is now no longer going to consider. So wanted to sort of come back to this study to say, okay, well, it's been a year and a half. We've looked at some other options. Is there anything else we want to explore here? Or are there other ideas that we'd like to look into for this intersection?
Is Pete present tonight?
Yeah, Pete is here, and I asked him to be here for this agenda item. So if you have any questions of him about what he's done or what more he might be able to do, he's available.
Well, I think we might ask of Pete a question, which is beyond some of the more expensive alternatives, which people were not enthusiastic about, and speed humps. I guess leaves you left with is a relatively low cost of just putting stop signs. So is that worth doing or not, in anybody's opinion, including Pete's? Pete, what do you think?
Hello, can you hear me, folks?
Can we ask Pete his question first, though? I mean, I posed a question to Pete Gosselin.
Yeah, to answer that question, that seems like probably the second simplest thing to do there. The unknown is going to be the traffic backup issue beyond Fire Road heading out of the village. There's a blind curve there leading up to the fire farm. And on a normal school morning, we can see traffic backed up from the Iron Bridge, sometimes all the way to Stone Corral. So adding a stop in there 4-way is just going to increase, it's going to slow down the flow of traffic, obviously, but it's going to increase the backup. So without knowing exactly what that would do, it would probably involve a lot more advanced warning, probably starting from before the farm by the S curves. But I really couldn't tell you that. That's why, my proposal of just trying a simple speed hump. The issue, in my opinion, and people that live there, I hope I'm going to give you my opinion. I give my opinion all the time. It's the speed that vehicles enter the village is the problem. I come out of Thompson Road. I come off that road 30 years now. You look left, you look right, and you start to go, and they're already there. And you're talking, they're if you have 300 feet of sight line, they should not be coming into the village at that speed. So that's where my proposal of just trying a simple speed hump came from. 4-way stop seems to be the next simpler proposal. Getting into an island in the center of the road or pushing out a 4-way pedestrian type crossing. I can see that that's going to be a maintenance problem. I'm also going to see that it's going to be a problem for, large trucks like mobile homes, lowboy trucks, 53-foot tractor trailers. The preferred route is to come down Cochran Road and not bottle up the Iron Bridge because it has a problem coming off one side of it. It has a sight issue and it also has a turning radius issue. So you add an island in the middle of that without proper space around it, I could see more problems. So in my opinion, the 4-way stop would be the second easiest thing to try. Again, I think we'd need some more data, some more traffic, someone to go out and do some survey on that and see what it would take to do that and what kind of traffic backing problem we would have.
Thank you.
Gene?
Jean Haskin here. So I thought we talked about this at one of the last meetings where we had accident data and there were next to no accidents at that intersection. And the accidents that did happen happened in the wintertime when the road conditions were bad. And so we talked about marking crosswalks and even putting, a flashing light crosswalk for the people that are trying to get across that intersection. But I go through there all the time and I never, ever, ever, I've lived in town for 50 years and I've never had a problem at that intersection. And I don't understand why it's all of a sudden becoming such an issue. I mean, our taxes are slated to go up about 12% next year. We don't need to be spending more money on something that really isn't necessary. And so that's my opinion. I think we just need to make sure the crosswalks are marked. If you want to put a speed hump up, put a speed hump up. But that's the limit of the money that should be spent on that intersection. That is a really low incident intersection. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. John?
Hello. So as a member of the Transportation Committee, or the past Transportation Committee, I'll say that when the committee talked about this and held public meetings, we heard from a number of people that said for decades that's been a problem site. So people that are just saying it's never or it's always, they're exaggerating, because we heard from enough people that are worried about that site, and that, whether they're trying to cross that intersection to get their kids to the daycare center on Huntington Road or on Thompson Road, or whether they're driving their kids to school. We heard from people saying they're worried about that intersection. And I just don't know that you want to wait until there's a significant accident to then say, oh, we better do something. So I support any way the select board can try and move this forward. Thank you.
Somebody at the asked to get permission. You're muted.
Also note that, we just redid our zoning in town. And so that portion of the town that was formerly agricultural residential district is now village residential neighborhoods south. So the zoning and density and walkability and infrastructure expectations for that are changing. Maybe they're lagging the zoning change, but that's the trajectory we are on over there, is to make that more similar to the other side of the bridge than the farmland that surrounds it, for better or worse. Does anyone have any opinions on what we should do? Thoughts, questions?
I think Steve on the upper left is trying to talk, but he doesn't know how to raise his hand.
Sorry, Steve, I didn't see your hand up. Go ahead if you have something.
Yeah, okay. Can you folks hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm just saying we live in that corner, and not long enough to have a long history there, but daily we do hear a horn being blasted because someone is going to go straight across the intersection onto Thompson, and they stop to yield to oncoming traffic from Huntington. And the person behind them, maybe isn't expecting them to stop, and so they blast them on the horn. The blasting of the horn is not a big deal, but I'm just thinking that at some point there's going to be a rear ender, which is an inconvenience for the people involved. But a worse thought is if there was a higher speed rear ender and the car in front that stopped to yield gets pushed into the oncoming lane and gets T-boned coming from the right. It seems to me like we shouldn't wait for there to be an incident or an injury, and God forbid a tragedy, before we act on it. And even if it is just a speed hump coming from the Huntington end, that would be something to slow folks down a bit. It doesn't have to be a big fancy island or a roundabout, in my opinion. What do I know? But a speed hump, might do the trick, or even a third stop sign possibly coming from the bridge direction. But anyways, daily we hear someone, almost getting rear-ended because they stop to wait to cross. And we've learned to turn on a left-hand turn signal as if we were going to go down Cochran, even though we aren't going down Cochran, just to let the person behind us know that, we're slowing down and perhaps stopping to make a left-hand turn. So anyways, that's just our short experience with that intersection.
Thank you, Steve. No problem. How do we meld this all together? We've had a lot of options.
Well, this is very troubling because people have come before the board and said, you have to do something, but you can't do that. I'm thinking the construction season is probably pretty well done for the year, but it might make sense to schedule a community meeting in the area, invite the people that live and work there to come and have a discussion, and maybe something can come out of that. Something late March, early April, maybe.
Possibly. What do you think, Barb?
Select board meeting with Pete and the neighbors.
Maybe ask Pete, just to lay our guardrail, so to speak. If we can, is it feasible to put up stop signs like before, in the next 2 or 3 months?
Yes, stop signs can be put in. We'd have to, make a change to the ordinance, of course, and probably put a pre-warning sign, of course, to stop ahead. Because there's going to be something new. But I want to add this, and This is my observation from working for the town for 31 years and coming out of that intersection multiple times a day. This is most of the time when we have a problem there, it's either when school's in, we have a high volume of school traffic, or late afternoon, 4 o'clock, when we got a high volume of people going back to Huntington. So you got to take in consideration this artery serves two towns. I mean, probably 90% of the people in Huntington travel that road coming into Richmond Village. So it's not just Richmond traffic, and it's increasing. So, in the middle of the summer when things are low, I mean, it's really not a big issue other than the occasional speeder. But you go over there between 7:15 and 5 minutes of 8, and it's just so congested with traffic. And it's hard to even pull out of any side road. So that's just my observation.
Peter, question. So Pete, the study we had for four-way stop suggested that we would have to change some of the geometry of that intersection, move some sidewalks out, add some curbing. Would we have to do that, or could we just put 2 more stop signs up as it is right now as a trial? Like, I'm not really sure what the right path forward would be.
Yeah, if we weren't going to get into changing anything on the pedestrian side of it, with the four corner thing, I don't see why the stop signs couldn't be put in with stop bars. We would have to have stop bars. You take into consideration on the concrete sidewalk side, which would be opposite side of Thompson Road, there is a storm drain system that parallels that curb. So if we were to move anything over there, you'd have a major stormwater change too. So if you were to widen the intersection or do something in there, you're going to have a lot of subsurface work. So just take into consideration on that. The other thing is we got a water main project that hopefully is going to go this coming season that will do Bridge Street right up to Cochran Road into that intersection and then down Cochran Road. So
that'll slow them down.
So anyways, just kind of giving you a
It's expensive though.
future look on that. But just adding 4 stop signs and changing the ordinance and pre-warning it, that could be done.
Perrin?
Hello. So Erin Farr, we live at the Farr Farm just past Stone Corral. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention. When we talked about this last time, when the raised island thing came up, for folks that weren't there that time, there was concern that that would really affect school buses as well. Someone was able to put a school bus on the map of the mountable island, and the school bus would not be able to make it without going up over the island twice, I believe. So that's why the mountable island was sort of not very popular last time. The other thing that I wanted to request was that and I said this in the meeting prior, was when you did the traffic study, please do not do it in the summer. Please do it when school was in session. And we had the meeting in May and we missed that window, and you did do the traffic study, but it was the first week of August, which, owning a business on the same strip of travel, that is our slowest week of the year. So I don't feel that your traffic study was accurate. And I do think that it would be worth doing the traffic study when it is school time, because especially coming off of a vacation week last week, the amount of cars that go by here between 7 and 8 in the morning, the traffic already is stopped to where I can see it from my kitchen window around the corner from Stone Corral at times during that period of time. And I think a 4-way stop could be exceptionally problematic at that time of day.
Thank you, Aaron. So what's our path forward? Caitlin.
Hey, sorry, I'm not on video because I'm sick and I couldn't look at myself being sick on video. So I feel like we've heard from the neighborhood. I feel like we've heard about a couple of the different options, and we've talked in circles around this, and it sounds like the 4-way stop is something worth exploring. I don't know if we want to do another traffic study before that. My only concern would be how it would affect traffic. But like Aaron just said, it's not going to affect it in those times because people are already stopped. But will it, have any other effect that we're not thinking through? I'm generally in favor of that. As someone who used to go to the daycare that was in there, I have been nearly rear-ended several times there, and it's very hard to get across. It's very hard to watch parents trying to cross with strollers and so forth, and it's certainly not easy to navigate if you have no idea what's going on there, as many people from out of town wouldn't understand the traffic patterns in that segment. So I've also seen people just stop because they think it's a four-way stop and then get very confused. So again, it's just not super straightforward. So I'm generally in favor of the four-way stop. I also would love to reaffirm that with the community around that area. Because we talked about the speed hump with the community around where we were going to place the speed hump area. So if we wanted to talk any more about it, I think that would be my only piece of input that might change my thought process there.
This part, I'm inclined to at least experiment with the four-way stop. And part of my thinking is if people are stopping everywhere, it presumably trains you not to clog the intersection. So at various times, the intersection is then open, whatever direction you're coming from. And presumably, one of the problems we've heard over and over is people coming from Huntington at a high rate of speed. Well, presumably, if you have to slow down to stop at a stop sign, it tends to mitigate that. Presumably, many people will start slowing down before they get there versus slam the brakes on in the last 40 feet. And that's one of the things that we've heard as well, that people are coming through that intersection at a high rate of speed beyond the accidents and the number of that. And I don't know what the number of accidents are. I have seen almost accidents, which suggests that if an accident hasn't occurred, there's a possibility that it will.
Yeah, it seems like based on the conversations we've had, that everyone wants speeds to decrease, but no one likes any of the options to do that.
Right.
I think talking to our the gentleman who did the traffic study, that really it's physical changes to the road that actually slow people down. Signage and markings only do so much. And so the two options we've come up with are rebuilding the intersection or putting in speed humps. And I know those all have proponents and opponents, but Pete?
Here we go. Going out on a limb again. One other option, which I'm sure we could use it in another location if it didn't work. We could buy a speed radar feedback sign, not as complicated as the ones that are on Cochran Road, but they make them sign post mounted. There, you see them in Huntington, Jericho. They're a lot. They're not as expensive. They're not, over $7,000-8,000. They're much more inexpensive. And post that in that location where I was proposing the speed hump at the island in front of Stone Corral. And I know I see Susan Wells is on tonight, and we discussed this like a year ago. And a lot of it is like how fast they go through that intersection and continue on to Cochran Road. And if you would like to speak to that, it'd be great, Susan. But I don't know. I mean, that's a simple thing. It'll flash. It'll tell you your speed. I don't know if it's going to make people slow down. I do believe the physical things do it, but just thinking of some other simpler option without trying to back up traffic and doing a major, ordinance change.
Pete, do those signs track the speeds that they register?
You can get the more advanced ones, like the Cochran Road stuff does store data, but like the simpler ones, they're basically just a signpost mounted speed speed sign, basically. If you set it, say the speed's 25, you set it at 25 and it blinks at 26. And it just says too fast. Moncton's got some really, really nice ones down by the Moncton Central School. It blinks red too fast and then it turns green and it says thank you. So it's
like
pretty
those.
neat.
I like that idea, but I would like it more if it also gave us data so we knew, first of all, what the approaching speeds were, what they were slowing down to, but also what the average speeds were going through there. I think that would help influence our decisions going forward as to what to do.
Yeah, I mean, you get into a sign with all that data, collection, it's going to be a lot more money.
What are we talking for dollar amounts, Pete?
Well, I can say this, and Josh, I don't know if you remember. So the police department was awarded 2 of these radar feedback signs that store data, and they were supposed to put them on Route 2. And I don't think VTrans authorized us to put that particular unit in. We still have these units brand new in storage. So we already own them, and they got them under the Governor Highway Safety Program, I believe. Who was here at that time? I don't know if it was Kyle Kapitansky or Ben, but so I don't know. I mean, maybe that would be something you could try. It'd be minimal cost, just the installation and whatnot. We own them. I don't know anything about setting it up, but they're the same ones that are on Cochran Road, basically.
Thank you, Pete.
Yeah.
Susan, and then Aaron, and then I think we gotta move on.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but since Pete invited me to, I'll be my broken record again. It is a dangerous intersection. We've confirmed that by lots and lots of people who live in the area and walk in the area. I'm not sure that we had a speed sign there right by our house. And honestly, it didn't make people slow down. It would flash and then it wouldn't even register over 30 miles an hour and people would just keep going really fast. So it was only the speed bump that really slowed people down. And just one more thing, I'm not sure I understand why a 4-way stop backs up traffic more than it already is. Because I go out there and I have to wait and cars just inch through the intersection. So they're going to be stopping anyway. And a 4-way stop would allow people on Cochran Road to even get out because it's very hard to get out of there. And Thompson Road as well. So if it's backed way up, this just makes it fairer to get your turn.
Aaron?
Thank
you, Susan.
Kind of following on what Susan just said. I was wondering if there's an agency that we could hire, like Shelburne Police or somebody that does traffic control, that maybe we could hire to do a couple days of physical traffic directing in the fashion of a 4-way stop, so we could see what it did to the town before, to the traffic before we commit to that option. I didn't know if that's something that can happen. That was it.
Thank you, Aaron.
Pete, can you remind us what's it take to put up a stop sign and a stop ahead sign? Like, what's our price point, more or less?
Simple math, just call it $200 per sign.
We're talking with 2 stop signs and 2 warning signs. We're talking under $1,000.
Well, you're talking 4 stop signs, right? All 4 corners. Well, you already got Thompson Road to Cochran.
We already got 2, yeah.
Right.
It's 2 more.
And so 4 signs. Yeah, you're talking, $800 probably. And it probably wouldn't even be quite that much.
Seems like the cheapest option.
We have posts in stock, and we always stock stop signs. So,
I mean, for that amount, it seems like it would be remiss to just not try it. And if it backs everything up and messes it all up, then we learned our lesson for $800, and we still have the stop signs because we take them down and reuse them.
It seems that way to me, and I think we'd quickly get over that price point with humans out there.
Literally anything else.
Yeah, it is the cheapest.
What there's discussion having to change the traffic ordinance.
Yeah.
What are the, what's the path look like?
The reason that we're choosing to.
Time frame.
Well, we could probably come back next meeting with a draft of that. You'd set a hearing date for probably early January. If it's approved early January, I think it's a 45 or 60-day waiting period. So you could have something in place by March-ish.
We will serve no sign before it's time.
But can't not make a joke here. I am up for re-election. So worst case is I can make this my last bad decision. You know, stuck with it. I mean, for the money compared to other things we're talking about doing here, this seems a no-brainer to at least try out. Like, am I missing something here?
And then we take it out if
If it
we
really
think
doesn't
it
work,
doesn't
I
work.
mean,
Yeah.
It's using the fewest resources, and if we decide it's not working, it's the easiest to undo.
yeah,
That we're not out anything, we're just putting the signs.
it doesn't
back
make
inside.
doesn't make anything unnavigable from a truck or school bus or tractor standpoint that's not already an issue.
Yeah. Caitlin has her hand up.
Caitlin,
Hi. I think like when we do this, before we do this, I would love to sit out in a lawn chair on a not so cold day and watch the traffic and how it flows in the morning. And I know this is kind of like what a traffic study is, but just to like firsthand understand, because I don't come through that intersection to get to the school. And I just like to kind of see what that is now and then do the same thing when we put in the stop signs if we choose to do that too, and just kind of understand what that impact is from a firsthand scenario. So when we decide to move forward, let me know. I'd love to go and sit. I also think like this is it's a change, and with change comes opinions and different views on what's right, what's wrong, and so forth. And so I think this is one that we might want to call out on Front Porch Forum specifically that we're exploring to get some just like more eyes on what we're doing here, so it's not a surprise to anyone. Or if it is, we've done our duty in really trying to get the word out of this is what we're trying to do, because after all we're really trying to meet the needs of the town and make that a safer place, and we want to make sure that people are aligned to that. We're not getting kickback afterwards, or if we are, that we've had the conversations we needed to.
thanks, Caitlin. Susan, and then I think we gotta wrap up.
I'll be quick. This select board approved a four-way stop a couple of years ago, and lots of people complained. Not lots and lots, actually, a small group of people complained, and most of them don't live in this area. So if you approve this, I would like to make sure that a handful of people who drive through the intersection and don't understand the problem don't have a say in changing the issue, changing your minds.
I guess I would point out that they will probably have a say in it, but I think that we've explored so many options at this point that this seems to be the least costly and easiest to implement. So
Lowest hanging fruit.
lowest hanging fruit, as David said.
And I think that one of the take homes might be on this one that the local residents should probably be interested in being heard at that public hearing.
Agreed. So Josh, can we get the process started to get a draft for the changes to the ordinance?
Yep.
Sounds like that's our longest. The bottom, right?
Yeah, we'll go back to the next meeting with the draft and set a hearing date, or take at that point, it could be early January.
So we'll be realistically looking at the late winter.
Yeah.
Implementation.
And assuming Pete can get, I'm not sure what weather restrictions there are on putting signs in the ground, but whatever Pete can do to put the signs in once the ordinance is approved.
We can get anchors in now. We'll get dig safe in and get the anchors in and just bolt them up when we're ready.
Yeah.
So there's an anchor goes in the ground, sticks out of the ground 4 inches, and then you bolt the sign to it. So
Right.
if you're authorized to do the 4 signs, we can go mark the 4 locations and then have it, dig safe marked, and then put the anchors in. So
Yeah, just wait until the ordinance is official. But I think put the
Yeah,
anchors
yeah.
out makes sense. Yeah.
But
So do you-
the anchors we can do anytime we want. It's in the right of way.
Do you
So
want a motion to get those anchors in?
Josh can just tell
Or
him to do it.
do you want to just tell Keith to do it?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not putting the signs in until the ordinance.
think
if
go
the
ahead.
ordinance is changed.
Put the anchors in. That's not making any changes. The actual changes will come after the ordinance.
Yeah.
So, good. Yeah. Thanks, Pete.
okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Next we have discussion of a misinterpretation of acting zoning administrator authority. Pete, do you want to give us and everyone present a synopsis of this? Sorry, not Pete, Josh.
That's all right.
I do that.
Please don't weigh in on this, Pete.
So the town hired into the position for the zoning administrative officer, hired Dante Donat in early September. In years past, we've filled that position. That person has gone on to be approved as the zoning administrative officer on their first day of work or close to it. It goes through a process of recommendation by the planning commission and approval by the select board. In this process, Keith, who is the director of planning and zoning, wanted a little bit more of a training period. So he suggested appointing that person, who's Dante, as the acting zoning administrator for a period of a few months. Well, Keith could work closely with him on permits and approvals. But Keith would ultimately have the ability and final say to kind of say, well, let's do it this way. And let's figure out, help just some training time basically. Because once you're a zoning administrative officer, you sort of have final authority. So the goal here was to provide a couple months of training. During that time, Keith was reviewing everything with Dante and no decisions were made without Keith's input. However, Dante was signing some of the permits. And looking at the zoning policy, it looks like you're only allowed to have the acting zoning administrative officer sign permits when the zoning administrative officer is absent from the office for more than 2 days. Keith was interpreting it an as necessary clause in there to mean that it could be anytime. Once it came to my attention, we reached out to our attorney for his interpretation of the policy, and he confirmed that the policy and actually statute dictates that it can only be the acting zoning person signing when the zoning administrative officer is out of the office for more than 2 days. He also advised that the correction for this is there really isn't one for any permit that was signed by the acting zoning administrative officer that wasn't appealed within 15 days. It passes and there's the appeal that is over, it becomes approved essentially. Keith stopped having Dante sign zoning permits, I think, at least 2 weeks ago at this point. So there's only been one permit that's been appealed over the last few months since Dante's been signing. So that one will be going to the DRB. But right now, all the other permits are in compliance and Keith is signing going forward until such time that Dante is approved as the zoning administrative officer. But wanted to provide the update to the select board because it's a select board policy. Ultimately, the select board has to approve acting and the full zoning administrative officer. So that's the update.
Is there anything you need us to do?
Nope, there's nothing that you guys need to do at this point because we're going back and making sure that Keith signs everything going forward since about 2 weeks ago.
And are we confident that the policy is robust moving forward now that we understand the interpretation?
So Keith, I think, does want to make a couple of changes to the policy because it talks about supervision and that structure has since changed since the policy was put into place. But I think it's workable for right now for the interim, and hopefully we'll have Dante appointed as zoning administrative officer within weeks or months.
Yeah, the procedural defect has been corrected. Okay, at this point, I'll fall on my sword. Yes, so it was a procedural defect. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's fine. It is what it is. And I am the supervisor and I do look over his shoulder on everything, vet every single permit that comes across our office. So really the only issue here is that the acting zoning administrator put his signature on permits in the past and is no longer doing that. I would like to see the policy updated because it does state that the town manager and or the select board are under the acting zoning administrator is under the select board and town manager as their supervisor, but this individual now has a supervisor. So, I mean, I would probably offer some type of language at some point in the future after we get the zoning administrator and acting zoning administrator issue taken care of. The zoning administrator recommendation is on this Wednesday's planning commission meeting. So it's my hope, that this moves forward to the select board as soon as possible. He's had 12 weeks of pretty solid and intensive, tutelage and has had quite a bit of training, on top of that. So he's doing fantastic.
And all the permits that Dante has signed, you would have issued in the same manner. There's nothing you would have changed
That's
or
correct,
anything.
yes.
Okay. So this sounds like it was more of an update.
Yeah, do you have a question?
Chelsea.
Sorry, my comment so that you can hear me on the speaker for those of us at home. Chelsea Brooks. So I'd like to speak to this agenda item if you'll allow me.
Yeah, of course.
So I have a little script here so that I don't kind of go off the rails, but I'm quickly inclined to go off the rails based on some of the feedback that I just heard. And so bear with me if this is a little disconcerted in the beginning here. So full disclosure, the permit that was issued and appealed, I appealed, myself and my husband. So making it clear sort of where we stand here. And also, for those who don't know, because I don't think this ever hit the public view, I wrote a letter to the select board last fall, or this spring, summer, whenever it was that we didn't have a zoning administrator, right? And said, please take care in hiring this person, because as Josh just said, once they're appointed, there's not a lot of authority of really anyone, statutorily the act alone. And so when I met Dante, and even now, like, I'm super hopeful that this is going to work out for the town, and had good impressions right out the gate. I guess the things that I wanted to comment on that I just sort of heard from Josh and Keith are sort of the indication that Dante was only signing the permits and Keith was doing all the review and Dante just happened to sign it. That doesn't really like make a whole lot of sense. Like, why would he put his name to something that Keith was the one who was reviewing? Because so I'll circle to my script here. So I'll explain sort of how this has directly affected us, aside from the fact that we appealed a permit. That permit we appealed for different reasons than the lack of authority. Obviously, there was sort of grounds, and our arguments are centered on literal interpretation of our town zoning bylaws. However, it quickly came to our attention that the very act of Dante issuing the permit was not in line with what was presented to the Planning Commission on September 17th, and then what was presented to the Select Board on October 6th. That narrative was very much like, this is a training period, this is training wheels, this person is going to not act unless I'm not present, and only then would it be at Josh's sort of direction. Like, I'll set it up with Josh ahead of time. I watched back the meetings. I actually had listened to them both live, I think, as well. And so it quickly sort of came to the front of my mind that this wasn't matching what was said. And then, so because of that, this procedural sort of invalidness of this permit is because a permit that was not valid upon issuance, if appealed, is not valid. So now I'm in a zoning appeal because of a mistake at the administrative level at the town. So I just kind of wanted to give the select board an initial heads up of that pending finality of that issue. I'll be requesting my fee to file an appeal back, just to kind of put that on your radar. And then as far as promoting Dante, like I said, I'm still very hopeful that like this could work out. However, I'm not like jumping in feet first, obviously, because the permit I appealed, I thought there was things done wrong, right? I didn't just appeal it for fun. It's really not fun for anybody who's wondering. So I think that the select board, when you asked Josh, do we have to do anything about this? Legally, do you have to? No. Should you? I think yes. Like, I think as
What would you think we should do?
So-
I guess what we meant was like
yeah,
remedying the
I
situation.
get it. Yeah. So Keith just said that all the permits Dante issued, he would have signed off on. And the Monday after the permit that I appealed was issued, I went into the zoning and planning office because the things that I was sort of contesting, I was like, surely this can just be like, we can just press the undo button and like make them, submit things that are full and final and whatever, and it'll be so simple. And in that visit, Keith was very unaware of the permit that was issued. He thought that different plans had been submitted with the permit than actually were. He like popped his head over the cubicle and said, well, didn't that have the plans with the gray strips? And there's details that are sort of beyond this conversation, but the impression that I got was very much Keith wouldn't have necessarily made the same decision Dante did. I think right now, backpedaling may be happening, and I get it. It's not fun to be wrong. But I think the important thing, if you're wrong, is to take accountability and learn from that and grow and not sort of like double down and try to act like you were right in the first place. Because again, like, I'm not saying that either of them are incapable of doing what I perceive to be a good job. I think there's just some work to be done. So when I said what the select board can do, ultimately, you're the ones who appointed Dante as acting zoning administrator. You're the ones who were told how this was going to play out, and that's not how it played out. And that's had some pretty big impacts for me and my husband and my kids and my family and time and hours and money spent on this. And so I think that it would be wise to perhaps review the permits that have been issued in this time period. See, when did they start getting signed? When did they truly end getting signed? What kind of permits have been issued? Are there any that have glaring problems? Because from my point of view, the one that we have appealed has things that even somebody not familiar with the project might question. So someone, a impartial third party, I don't know who, do we have any volunteers, could review these permits just to see if everything looks good. Does that mean like we can undo these permits? No, like Josh said, legally that's kind of the weird thing about zoning and all of this stuff. And that's why I said in my letter this summer that it's so important who we appoint, because like once it's done, it's done. Even if it's wrong, if somebody didn't appeal it in 15 days, tough luck. Ask me how I know. So I think that that's important for the select board to kind of take a step back, take a look at this. Don't make a hasty decision, such as the one that seemingly was made on October 10th when this permit was issued. Because again, permits have 30 days to be issued. The permit was applied for and issued in the same day. Why? Then it begs questions.
You have to, sorry, Chelsea, to cut you off, but we gotta.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. But I think we definitely, I guess I personally don't know why we would review the permits that are already binding. Spend effort on that. I don't want to pay someone to do that, but I guess moving forward, I do think it's important that we cross our T's and dot our I's and we make sure this is, like you said, things are permanent once their 15-day appeal period's up, right? So we want to make sure that doesn't happen again. We want to stop permanent things from happening. I guess I just don't know why we would review the permits that are already permanent just to dig up the past. I guess it seems like the lesson has been learned and we are, maybe the mechanical procedural lesson has been learned, and then philosophically about how we approach it, we will continue to evolve on that. Do you think that digging it up is part of that process? I'm trying to figure out.
So I'm not saying from a procedural standpoint, like the signing and the authority of issuing them. I'm saying from like a training standpoint. I don't know, based on my interaction that Monday, I don't know how closely Dante was being, watched. I don't know how much these were being reviewed.
Realistically, we would defer this to Keith to continue training him until he's comfortable. So I know that's probably not the answer you want. But like Keith is the most qualified. Maybe we'll go with the least unqualified person here, but the most qualified person to train Dante. So like we're, as a select board, we can't really step in and train him. Does that make sense? So I don't know. I mean, like I'm open to, it's not that I don't think we should learn from our mistakes in all these situations. I just don't know how as a select board, like I don't have any expertise to do anything about this at all beyond what Keith is gonna do. I don't know.
And just to, so to clear up one thing you said at the beginning. So Dante, my understanding, was doing a lot of the legwork and the research and then would confer with Keith. It wasn't that Keith was doing the legwork and then Dante was signing off on it. Dante was doing the work and then coming to Keith and discussing them, and then they would agree on how
Collaboration.
they would agree on the approval or any changes, and then Dante signed off on those after they talked about it. But Dante, through this process of the last few months, has been doing that research to learn, to understand how to act as the zoning administrative officer, not just the acting zoning administrative officer. So, you know, so any permit, like you said, you've looked at and signed off on with him. I mean, even if Dante didn't signature.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a great situation, obviously. It seems less bad than if we had appointed Dante immediately, like we had previously done. Because there is some guardrails. It's kind of us building guardrails as we go, though. I use some trying to figure out how we go further to turn this into a learning experience. But from a select board standpoint, I don't really have any ideas or any expertise to do that. So I would have to defer to Keith in the town, which is tough because it sounds like you don't trust them to do that. So I guess if you have any input, quick, we do it.
Yeah,
quick,
yeah, sure. So,
I want to give you a chance to
yeah, I understand your hesitance to spend money on review of permits, but again, I just, based on what I encountered, my confidence is sort of the trust is broken a little bit. And so I guess initially Keith just said this is on the planning commission agenda on Wednesday. But like I'll clearly be recusing myself from that discussion and speaking to the planning commission from a resident like audience perspective. I can't be part of this decision because clearly I have bias and it affects me differently than others. However, I think that sort of from the select board standpoint, it's important for you to have all this information because regardless of what the decision is that the planning commission makes this Wednesday, I think that promotion right now is a little bit premature.
Okay.
Like I said, given even not even considering this appeal thing, the pitch to the planning commission and the select board back in September and October was this is going to be a few months of learning, a few months of training wheels. And October 6th is when he was appointed. So
it was September 1st.
No, October 6th is when he was appointed acting zoning administrator.
Is that, I thought it was September. Oh, he was hired September, sorry.
Training began the first day.
Right, sorry, he wasn't appointed till later in October. My apologies.
So,
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Chelsea.
thank you.
Point taken.
We didn't lose Zoom, we just lost a projector for everybody in the room who's wondering.
So they can see us, but we can't see them.
That's basically when it's coming back up here, I think,
Slowly.
and
Dimly.
we'll get there.
So next we have a discussion of a request to develop a town-owned strip of land off of Mary Drive to rural road standards. So I think this is what's the synopsis?
Yeah, I'll try to give a synopsis. Let me pull up a visual aid here, might be helpful. No, sorry, I can find the map. Uh, Keith, feel free to jump in with anything I might miss, but I'll try to give an overview. So this was discussed by the select board about 3 or 4 times last year. Danny Pete owns lot 12. It's currently undeveloped. He would like to develop it. In order to do so, the road that accesses it comes from Mary Drive on lot K here through this part of the driveway here to get to lot 12. This currently serves as access to 3 lots here. It is built to driveway standards. It is also owned by the town, but the town does not maintain the driveway that is on lot K. It is maintained and was built by the 3 parcels that it serves. when the town looked at this before, this would have to come up to rural road standards until it meets the first driveway. And then it could be driveway standards out to the next three, because anytime it serves 4 or more, it has to be rural road standards. 3 or less, it can be driveway. So up to the first one is rural road. After that would become driveway standards. The question was, did the town want to retain ownership of Lot K once it serves all 4 lots? Does the town want to convey this to Danny Pete or to some sort of a conglomerate of Danny Pete and the property owners? Where this was basically left was that Danny Pete was going to talk with the existing property owners to see could there be some sort of a road association put together where they would share costs on at least the maintenance. I think Pete was fine with the increased cost for upgrading the road to rural road standards, but then, increased, the ongoing maintenance would have to be something that would be ultimately split by all 3 property owners plus Danny Pete, who owns lot 12 at the end there. So he went back, worked with the property owners, and after the last year was unable to come to an agreement with the property owners. So he's now back to the board to ask that he be allowed to upgrade the road to rural road standards, and the town retain possession of the road. And then I think that there would be an agreement of some sort that the 4 property owners would then maintain the road, although it doesn't seem like the current 3 are interested in an agreement. So this sort of comes back to the select board for kind of, what do you want to do? Do you want to retain the road, allow them to upgrade it? Do you want to look at conveying it to Danny Pete? We did talk to our attorney a bit about like this because it's pretty intricately legal. All 3 lots do have a right of way in their deed to go over that lot to access Mary Drive. So if it were to be conveyed to Danny Pete, we'd have to make sure that those rights remain with that lot so that they have access to their property. And then it would, once the town doesn't own it anymore, it would be on the 4 owners of the property to maintain the road, as it is right now with the 3 owners. So that's sort of an overview. Is there anything that I could have added that would make that more clear? It's fairly complicated.
It is pretty complicated, to be honest with you. We're dealing with 3 separate subdivisions here: Mary Drive, Saddle Meadow, and Southview. It's a bit of an issue here. Why it happened is not quite clear, but I think Josh has presented it as it is. But yes,
Yeah.
can you?
Go ahead.
Need to come on.
Of course.
I'm Danny. Actually, when this first started out, I was told I need to do rural road all the way to lot 12. So I'm very happy that now it only needs to go to the first driveway. So, thank you.
Tyler say that?
Yeah, Tyler was pushing that.
I'm pretty sure it's just the first road, right?
It is,
I
and
want to make sure I'm interpreting it right.
yeah, Keith came along and made
Yeah.
great sense. So thank you, Keith. So I mean, 35 years ago, Mary Drive was developed off our farm. And I think the wisdom back then was to keep an access available for future access, for future development. And why they wanted to keep the K and keep that property, unsure, but the idea in my mind was they needed any developed land, and if there was future developable land beyond, they wanted to keep access. And actually, I was on the planning commission back in the 80s, late 80s, and this was in early 90s. So I remember talking about that, not in this project, but just keeping a way through. So I think that was the wisdom back then. So we did meet a couple times, or at least once, and I knew that the select board didn't want to keep K. I came to them saying I want to use K to access 12. And so I got the message that they didn't really want to keep K. So I went to, so I knew I needed road maintenance covenants, road covenants, a road maintenance agreement on this portion of road that's going to be rural road standard, brought up to rural road standard, which is basically widening it to 24 feet. And so we met with the neighbors, couple times, one time at the home and then another time here at the zoning, many email exchanges. And the messages that I got were, you know, they're resisting. They're resisting signing a formal road agreement that stays with their property, you know, with their land. And it was, in my mind, it was quite a simple agreement. The cost would be shared by 4. But it would stay with the land, stay with the, you know, be in the deed or in the town or whatever the law stuff says. So that kind of, in my mind, it kind of scared them. You know, and then another one spoke about the unknowns of the future costs to maintain this. Right now, the water runs down the middle of, well, there's the first 2 homes as you enter the woods. If you've been up there, it's open field till you hit 2 homes that are just inside the woods. And it comes out of the woods and the water's running down the center of the road. That can be easily fixed. We're going to by putting it on the in a ditch off to the right. And when we bring the standard, when we bring that section up to standard, it's 260 feet in length to that first driveway. And I know the select board, or one of the select board, put together a chart with different options. Was that you, Bart? That was a lot of work. I think maybe with a lawyer too, your lawyer. I want to add to that. I want to add another option to that. I think it makes sense to me from what I've hearing from my neighbors, that section of rural road at 260 feet of Lot K stay with the town. And then from that point on, the rest of K gets transferred back to the farm. And that part there that gets transferred back to the farm is going to be the upper 2 homes that are going to maintain that portion. And so I'm asking for the town to keep the 260 feet and that the town maintain in the future. So I just want to add that as an option to your charts.
Danny, when you say 260 feet, is that,
Yeah,
is that all of Lot K, or is that only?
No, that's if you look at some of the design that was sent along, it's station 1260. So stationing on that road is 10 plus 00, then it goes to 12 plus 60 is so it's right to the first driveway. It's about 260 feet from the cul-de-sac to the first driveway. It's 260 feet.
So you would ask that the town retain that first 260 feet.
That's the piece that requires rural road upgrades.
Gotcha.
So that I'm saying I'd like to have the town keep that, and from that station forward to where K ends, I'm willing to take that back and negotiate to take that back. But I think it makes sense to me at this stage for the town to keep that first 260 feet. And it wouldn't be any, I would think my neighbors would agree with that. But I'm not going to speak for my neighbors. But
Pete's got his hand up. Oh, Pete, go ahead.
Well, that was my question, Dan, right there. Are the neighbors in agreement with that first 260 feet being brought up to the standards? Because if not, then we're going to have a big problem with developing further in because we won't comply with our public work improvement standards or our zoning standards. So, and then that being said, the town currently does not do any maintenance on that. So I'm assuming the maintenance that's currently happening would continue to happen. And then when you got off of Lot K or Section K into the newer portion, that would be private and that would be maintained by you.
by lot 12, which is what the lot I'm trying to sell,
Right.
and 450 Mary Drive.
Right.
this is a new, something, since I wrote up my little paragraph to go to the select board, this is a new idea I'm bringing forward. Just in the last couple of days or 3 days, came to me that I think what I'm saying tonight makes the most sense for our neighborhood. And so I haven't talked to the neighbors about it. And so I'm saying that the town, maintains that rural road section. So I'll let them speak for themselves.
And here, this map might help. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't have your designs handy, but this is oriented slightly differently. This is lot K here. Sorry, this here, right? So that the first driveway, I think, they're basically right here, sort of across from each other.
Yes.
And then the rest of it goes out here. This is the part that goes through the farm out to your lot. And
Right.
then well, actually, your proposed lot is here, and then this services this house currently. So you're asking for basically this first, kind of
260 feet right about to that those two driveways there. And then the rest of K would transfer back to the farm. So there wouldn't be any, it would be it wouldn't be any pieces of land that the town would own.
But Pete, to clarify, are you maintaining any of K now?
Danny.
Are you
No,
talking to Pete?
Pete.
Oh, Pete.
No, we go to the cul-de-sac and clear the cul-de-sac and that's it. Right now, that's considered a shared drive up to those two homes that are inside the tree line. So it doesn't meet the rural road spec. And this is what I'm getting at, that whole 260 feet all the way up to that property line. Up to the two houses will have to be rural road, and then it can neck down to shared drive, the driveway standards. But the question was to Dan was are the neighbors in favor of that angle versus a homeowners association? And then it turns into a zoning question for Keith, like, well, is this something that can be done this way? I've never heard of it. Piecemealing, the town owns part of it, but we don't maintain it. It gets really tricky. So,
well, this is messy. All of it, no matter how you do it. The neighbors would not sign a homeowners association. And so we kind of reduced it down to just a road agreement, road covenants. And it's not, which is different than an association, homeowners association. So it's just a simple road maintenance agreement that we've been trying to work out. And there's a lot of resistance to that.
So this may be a question for both Pete and Danny. If the town is not currently maintaining that section of K, how is it or why is it in the town's interest to now start maintaining that section of K?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we don't want to start.
The only thing that I'm going to need I think, Pete, I'm going to need road covenants to get a permit to do lot 12.
That's correct.
There's no way around that.
The DRB would have to condition the approval on access for lot 12, yeah.
I mean, these folks have been doing it on their own without anything written down.
That's correct.
And they can't continue to do that. It's got to be official.
It could
They've been
be,
treating it as a shared driveway, basically, and maintaining it themselves. Yes.
Yeah, I think Keith has information on it. Go ahead.
yeah, there's a statute in state law that requires highways and particularly private roads, private driveways, that all the properties that are on that private drive, regardless if it's rural or not, if it's private, they are to all share in the cost of the maintenance at a rateable, I think it's rateable process, which means depending on how long the road segment is after the particular drive.
So there is in state statute a law that says that.
Yeah.
So there is a law in the books that these folks need to maintain this.
There is.
I'm asking, that's the question.
Yes.
So, but that's not,
According to our attorney and according to.
yeah, according to my attorney too. So is that sufficient for the DRB to use to get like 12
I would
permits.
say yes, if they do that as a condition of approval. I can't speak for the DRB, obviously. But if they condition the approval of that lot on a shared agreement of some sort, then yeah, and if that agreement doesn't come to fruition, then permits will not be released.
Good.
Well, I don't know that it has to be, I thought it didn't have to be a shared agreement, it had to be, it could.
We don't.
I thought that the law, like if the lot is conveyed to Danny, then I thought that the law would be to Danny's favor to say, okay, well, we're maintaining this, and then he could use the law to say your portion share would be based on your percentage use of the road. That's how I interpreted it. Okay, but there doesn't need to be, I don't know that the DRB or the town cares if there's an actual agreement in place, but he would have to maintain the road because of the current rights of way in the deeds. And then the law would say that he could charge.
Somebody would have to have benchmark over that road, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
But just one back to the comment about why the town, I mean, if we build a new $1 million home up on the end on lot 12, you know, you'll have the taxes, extra, you know, the money, income from that. So, you know, you've seen this road, Pete, for 30 years. Has it, you know, how does it react to a 4-inch storm? What have you seen over the years? And we've got some homeowners here that have been around for 30 years too, using that.
Yeah, well, the soils up there are very sandy.
Pete go. Gentleman came up and wanted to talk before we got sidetracked.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Cut off here.
Yeah, so I'm Ash Kreider, lot I don't know, J, one on the left here, 252, that one. Yeah, so just so it doesn't get lost, the main concern, and thanks for not calling me out publicly, Danny, but I'm one of the main, I don't know, obstacles. Sorry to be a pain, but I think I am. But our main concern is that with this upgrade, if we're in charge of maintaining it, there's a financial risk that we don't quite have a feel for. Like I don't know how to maintain a road. I mean, we've been maintaining the driveway, but it's not the same thing. This is a different thing. There's a potential maintenance agreement that I don't really want to deal with. I'm willing to discuss it, but my inclination is I don't want to. So my general take is, unless someone can, you know, put in writing that our risk is less than or equal to what we have now as far as financial benefit, I'm not willing to sign off. And I don't know how you go about doing that. That's like get a civil engineer to do like a study for a 260-foot long piece of road to like quantify the costs. That seems like an extraordinary effort. I'm not, again, if someone could guarantee, like, you know, our maintenance costs are X now, we can give you that. They don't go up, you know, over the next 10 years other than inflation. I think, speaking for myself only, I'd be willing to sign off on that. But the signing off on you'll maintain this when we don't know what it is, we don't, you know, I'm not inclined to sign that.
Bard. So should the town not take the same position that you're taking? So just in my role, I'm representing the interests of the town as a whole. So I take the same view perhaps and go, well, so it's a variant of what's in it for the town. Why should the town do this?
Well, I guess I'll turn that on you. I'm happy to pay for it if you will give me the tax revenue from the new house instead. You have a benefit.
I mean, we have no point that like increasing the width of the road and a rural road standard is a significantly higher standard of construction and maintenance than a shared driveway. So
yeah,
having to then share be under control and added cost in that, I can see the concern there, definitely. And so it's not that you're going to maintain it for more maintenance. It's also a more complex road to maintain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're like, why are you maintaining it? Like the old road worked for you. Why are you going to pay more money to maintain a road that does the same thing functionally for you?
Yeah. And frankly, I don't want to maintain it poorly. I mean, we already are, none of us are civil engineers. None of us know what we're doing. We've just been doing it for a while. I don't want to screw it up and make it worse either.
So is there a situation in which we can come up like where you guys can figure out an agreement where the maintenance costs are shared in a way that's Danny gets his road and you guys know your cost is like mitigated, or?
We've talked a lot, you know, I've presented homeowners association language, I've presented road maintenance agreement language. And, is the share equally that rural road
I mean, it's
section.
my understanding that you can have the share equally is in statute, but you can, if you all sign off an agreement that doesn't share it equally, that would supersede the statute. So if you're willing to take on more than maintenance costs, that would supersede the state's thing. So I'm not saying that you should want to do that, but I mean, if you need to get people to sign off on it, you gotta do something. Like the town, I don't think as a town, we're gonna come in and tell them they have to sign off on it. I'm not gonna do that. And I think the bars there is like, we don't want to be told we have to maintain it. So why would we tell someone else they have to maintain it? And so I would say, from my perspective, you need to talk to them and figure out a way to like alleviate their concerns. And then, I mean, it sounds like
That's kind of what I've been trying to do.
sure. Well, it sounds like you're not quite there yet then.
Well, I don't know. I don't think we'll get there. Because
I mean, I guess it's gonna be tough for me to pick a side in this. Like I want an agreement to, personally, I'd want an agreement to come where everyone's okay with it, whether it's an agreement or it's an acknowledgement that state statute is satisfactory, or it's something to say that you guys all came to a point that maybe no one's like making out on it, but everyone's satisfied that going forward, they're not going to be left holding the bag for someone else's problem. And so, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it sounds like the people that have the access now kind of, they've lived there for a bunch of years. So like you ultimately do have to kind of appease them a bit to do it. Unless a future select board decides to take a turn on it, or the other 4 members want to do that. I'm only one person through.
If I can, I think, Danny, part of your concern is what we're asking for is, from my point of view, reasonable, but from your point of view, not, because we're asking for you to spend a whole bunch of money to guarantee that it's going to cost so much money.
Yeah,
I need a lawyer to tell me that, yeah, this is a good deal. I need a civil engineer to tell me that this is going to cost so much and this is how to maintain it. Like, that's a whole lot of you trying to figure
You
this
guys
out.
can just go through and do the state statute of equal split, and you can change the ratios if you wanted. Like you can go in and you can make yours worth 2 shares if you wanted, Danny. So you take twice the cost of that shared section.
Yeah.
And that kind of like mitigates it for them. I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't be pumped to do that. I totally get it.
well, it wouldn't, it's not, I'm just gonna sell lot 12, so it'd be lot 12's the new owner. So it's
Yeah.
not out of my pocket.
So I mean,
I still want Pete Gosselin's remarks on what he's seen coming down into that cul-de-sac over these 30 years.
I mean, we're already behind. So we're gonna like the
So,
nuances of the stormwater stuff with Pete.
So how are we gonna conclude? Are
I
you
think that
definitely saying,
curious what everyone else's thoughts are, but I mean, if you're gonna, I feel for you, but you're saying you're just.
so you're
gonna sell
saying the
it to-
town
I think
wouldn't be,
we're not gonna impose an agreement I don't think right now. Is that?
or take on that 260 feet?
No, I think we've learned our lesson in multiple other situations that we have going on with 3
Can
approvals right now too.
just, from my point of view,
Yeah, go ahead.
if the town isn't willing to take the risk, I'm not willing to, like, flat out, no way. Because the town knows how to maintain roads. We don't.
Yeah.
That's like waving a huge red flag in the air.
Yeah, I think our concern is more the, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes along with that as a town. But there's a lot of statutory things that once the town takes it over, it's subject to further stormwater stuff that you guys might not.
The stormwater's fixed. We've got that all figured out.
Yeah.
It's Mary Drive's stormwater permit, and we've already got that approved, so there's no issue with stormwater on this.
Just as a municipality, there is oversight and enforcement that can be done to us that cannot be done to private homeowners. Generally, that's changing. Chelsea's been waiting. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Give you a brief. Danny just said something about stormwater, and I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Residents, Danny, the town. This is the town parcel, lot K. I think that's the letter. And Mary Drive has a stormwater permit that the town made the decision to be the sole permittee on because it was a quote cheap one. However, Mary Drive has 2.85 acres of impervious surface right now. And if you go on the town website and look at Mary Drive stormwater permit plans right now, I just brought it up on my phone. Lot K and these 2 homes are part of Mary Drive stormwater permit. The extension to go to your lot, let me was never added to Mary Drive stormwater permit. It's actually the permittee's responsibility to add those impervious surfaces, and the town never did it because they didn't know better.
We're on Bradford Terrace.
No, I know, but sorry for those at home.
Guys, I don't think we have time to dig into all this stuff right now, so
So my
these
point,
are all things worth exploring for sure, but I think that when it comes to the actual agreement right now, I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you want to see to, Caitlin, what do you want to see to sort this out?
Yeah, I think like to the point of that, you know, the town, if the town's not going to do it, then, you know, why don't you do it? I get that sentiment, and also like there's a lot more to it of like Adam is saying of why the town wouldn't want to do that versus a private resident. And a lot of it goes into the, you know, the stormwater discussion, the like ownership of property and so forth. So I wouldn't take that to heart in terms of weighing out, you know, who wants to own the road. We could certainly manage the road, and it would be another road. It's more so on the, you know, the paperwork side of things in what comes down the road from it. Yeah. And then I think like for today, my thoughts on what we do here now is I would like to, I'm not ready to move forward with doing anything specifically for those reasons. And I would like to see if you guys could come to an agreement on something that would work for all of the lots. Again, like Adam was suggesting, there could be a different split. I live on a road with 2 other houses. It's a private road. We've got a good split. So I would like to see more conversation there of what we could do. And I'm not ready to take action tonight.
Yeah. I guess like, as David just pointed out, like if the town truly wanted to wash their hands of it, we could just convey it to literally any one person. And then it would just fall back on state statute for you guys to figure out how you want to do it. I don't think we want to do that. I would like to see an actual agreement, like some
With an agreement, yeah.
with an agreement. But I think that's the sticking point, is like there's no agreement. So it's up to them to come up with an agreement. That's the path forward, right?
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, we could just convey it to anyone, and then it would be state statute agreement. I don't think we want to do that. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone.
That's running under the assumption that a person would take that conveyance.
It just floats out there as unclaimed property.
So it's the town until someone will accept the conveyance to them.
You have to pay someone to take it.
I mean, there's been
Okay.
a cash offer for that person, so I don't think.
We take someone up on that. It's like, what's the amount? Does it cover?
Just,
Yeah.
you know, I couldn't hear my hearing. So I'm not, when she was speaking to me, I didn't hear a lot of it.
Caitlin.
So maybe you can catch me up on her.
Yeah, I think she was just saying again, too, like the town's not going to take over roads for various reasons that are above and beyond the concerns of an individual homeowner, more like political and property rights stuff. That's, you know, town versus private homeowner stuff versus private homeowner. So she wouldn't put a ton of weight on us not taking it over from the perspective of like being risk averse. However, she also would want to see some kind of agreement in place. You guys negotiate, figure something out before she would move forward. So I guess just saying, like, don't take our hesitance as a town as an indication that it's like super risky. It's just, as a town, it seems to, once the town owns it, it does other funky stuff happens that wouldn't happen if you owned it as a private homeowner. Bard, you seem deep in thought.
You know, I thought a lot more about this, whatever it was, a year ago or more. And I guess I'm just reluctant to sort of step in more assertively as the town. I will only say during my 30 odd years here, I've seen bad things happen in a variety of ways from the town taking over roads. Just, you know, and I'm representing the interest, the financial and sort of policy interests of the town as a whole. And at least at the moment, my thought is that the town should try to stay out of this and not take over maintenance and own more of the problem than we currently own.
Caitlin.
Yeah, I agree, Bart. And I think just to add to this, again, I said before, and you can repeat this in the room too, just make sure everyone can hear. But I live on a private road with that house up at the top, and then I'm down on the lower part, and we share a driveway across the way with another neighbor. And it's in our covenants. It works really well. We don't pay for anything above us or past our property, and it's all written out in a way that works for the three of us that we obviously bought into. We didn't create ourselves, but I think there's probably something that you guys can figure out that would work for everyone, and I'd rather do that than impose something upon you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Any closing thoughts or anything? Danny, anything to add? Questions or?
I'm unsure what to do now. So that's my
Yeah,
thoughts.
thanks.
I'll talk to Keith about the DRB.
I guess from a town standpoint, we're saying you need to keep negotiating.
Okay.
So if that's not, negotiation is stalled, then I mean, it's up to you to restart it.
Okay, and there are some I got a turnaround off-site that I need approval from the select board.
Okay. I think, yeah, if you talk to Keith, that'll come through as a.
Yeah, I thought that came through with this, but
I don't think
that's going to be coming through.
Okay. Thank you, Danny.
Okay, thank you, guys.
This is a long one. Next we have discussion of stormwater maintenance agreement with Greystone Estates Residents Association for the 3-acre stormwater permit. And then we have a possible executive session to discuss this. Caitlin.
I am going to recuse myself from this session, and I am sick, and I'm gonna tap out for the rest of the meeting because you guys have a quorum and go get some rest. So if that's
Okay, feel better. Please do.
We feel better.
all right. Thank
Feel
you
better.
all. Have a good night.
Take care.
If you guys wanted to go into executive session solo first to discuss, you could, and then invite Greystone in. I just know you might need a moment to talk to. And if you need the attorney, I can call him if you want to invite Dave Ruin, but I don't know if you need him at this point.
I think it's always a good idea, in any kind of negotiation to caucus briefly.
Well, I would entertain 2 motions. Seconds.
So Adam, this is David. I lost.
On page 7.
Here you want.
Okay.
I got.
I move to find the premature public knowledge about a stormwater system maintenance agreement with Greystone Estate Association for a 3-acre stormwater permit would cause the town or person to suffer a substantial disadvantage.
This part, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Chair, this is David. I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the stormwater system maintenance agreement with Greystone Estate Residents Association for a 3-acre stormwater permit. Man, what am I doing here?
You're right.
Okay.
You got it.
Under the provisions of 1 VSA 313A1A of the Vermont statutes, and to invite town manager Josh Arneson. And
that's it.
Yeah. And Dave Rue, or no?
And Dave Rue if
Do
needed.
you want him?
I don't know. I'm asking.
We can invite him in and
Invite him
not
in.
call him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we don't have to,
Invite Dave Ruin.
if we for some reason.
And town attorney David Rue into the executive session.
Is Bart a second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 So we have authority to invite him, but we're not committed to inviting.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think that's our goal.
Makes sense.
Should we make sure we turn off the audio this time? So our plan is to do another executive session and invite you into it this time, but we have to come back.
Oh,
out.
sorry.
So you gotta declare that. You gotta come back out.
Yes,
and
we
then
do.
Redo all the motions and.
Yeah. Board of directors.
In and out, in and out.
Back to the time of the condemnation process.
Oh, man. Okay, so entertain a revised set of motions.
Dave, you want to go again?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is David. I move to find that premature public knowledge about the stormwater systems maintenance agreement with Greystone Estate Residents Association for a 3-acre stormwater permit would cause the town or person to suffer a substantial disadvantage.
Does Bart, I second it.
All those in favor?
Bart, I.
David, I.
Adam, I.
Wait, before you make it, we've got Tom and George here, right?
And Kevin.
And Kevin too. Okay, so we have to, Kevin Kennedy? Kevin Kennedy, invite him in too. You want, I assume, be part of that? Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is David. I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the stormwater system maintenance agreement with Greystone Estate Residents Association for 3-acre stormwater permit under the provisions of 1 VSA 313A1A of the Vermont statutes, and to invite town manager Josh Arneson and representatives from the GERA, Tom Bednar, George Young, and Kevin Kennedy into the executive session.
Bart, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Bart, I.
David, I.
Adam, I.
We are back in executive session.
Fast can do our financials, Josh.
They don't have to take too long. We'll go into that. I've got a summary that I can read for you.
Of what?
He was asking about the financials. I can pull them up, go through a summary, and then answer any questions. That works for you?
Works for me.
All right, a couple of things go through. Reoriented. They might be quicker if I don't.
We might get out by 9:25.
Yeah. You know what, it's probably gonna be easier if I don't walk through it. So including the packet, we've got a number of things. There's budget status reports, and general fund financial documents that Connie puts together. A few notes, as you look through those, Connie also put some notes in on the general fund financials as far as some items that she caught that were either up or down. But this is the first quarter of FY 26, so we're looking at things that should be at about 25% for the year. Taxes collected are actually at 140% of the total of the 25% that should be collected for the year. That's due to some people paying in advance. So we collected, we expected to get 25% of the taxes. Sorry, it's 140% of 25% of the taxes. So we've collected more, but we haven't collected 140% of the total. Previous year's delinquent taxes are pretty low. People are on payment plans. There's $53,000 in past taxes for FY 26 as of September 30th, 2025. So there's still some people.
What was that last one?
There's $53,000 in past taxes.
Gotcha.
For FY 26 as of 9/30/2025. So that's just from the first quarter. So things that haven't been paid in the first quarter. We're already about 50% of interest revenue. So that I think can be attributed to high balances after the account after taxes were due, but before we sent the money to the school. So we had a little bit of a higher cash flow over the summer. Now the money's been sent to the school, or will be, so we expect that to go down. We had a health insurance change for an administrative staff member from a 2-person budgeted family plan to the reality that we're to a family plan of reality. So we're running over budget on those expenses. There's a negative figure in the legal fees, but that's been due to some reimbursement from tax delinquencies and a lag in billing from Stitchell, Page and Fletcher. So that will catch up and will go positive. We are under budget in planning and zoning salaries due to the vacancy over the summer. We're under budget in police salaries and benefits due to vacancies in police. And we're under budget in contracted police chief services.
We have vacancies there?
Due to the contract being terminated by Heinsberg. And recreation salaries are about 46%, but there's very few, if any, salaries paid over the winter time. That's mostly summertime operations. In highway, we're under budget in salaries. We had a new employee starting in 2025, who replaced an employee who was at a higher wage, and we budgeted for the higher wage. And we're at 42% in health insurance because we budgeted for an opt-out for a staff member who left employment and was replaced with a staff member who is on insurance. So Few things that are over, a few things that are under, nothing that seems dramatically out of whack though.
Nothing alarming.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Next, we have a review of wording to be added to budget meeting agendas to provide more information on budget meetings and the budget voting process. So I think if everyone looks at I think it's 3L online.
Here we go. I got it. I'll share this. It was just going to be easier to walk through the financials without sharing if you wanted to go quick.
Yeah.
So here's the proposed wording. I tried to hit on some of the points. So if this looks good to you guys, I'll add it to the
Yeah, I reviewed
budget
it.
meeting for next week. If there's any changes, let me know.
I think it's good. 3 bullet point synopsis, and it hits all the high points, and it's most importantly, it's short enough and easy enough to read that people will read it. And I mean,
Yeah.
the could realistically go on for a page or two about it, and then the information wouldn't be communicated. So I think this is good.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a chance to? Seems good, right? Any tweaks you would like to make?
Nope.
It's the point across.
Where are we gonna put this?
So I was going to put it either at the top or the bottom of the agenda for the next budget meeting.
Maybe a separate front porch forum.
Yeah.
Post just, we hear comments, geez, I wish you'd get more input, and then we have meetings and we get modest input.
Yeah, I can add.
Just stick it to the cupcake. Sweet Simone's and the creamy window in the summer. Seriously,
There you go.
it actually would get.
All right.
Great. Next,
Thanks
we have
for
a
doing it.
review of the draft town meeting warning. So this is obviously not finals.
Yeah, and with the discussion about fireworks sort of ongoing, there'll be certainly some changes, but wanted to get some first feedback from the board. The top is sort of the boilerplate that we've updated, but certainly if anybody catches a typo or a date that's incorrect, please let me know. Right now, we've only got 2 votes from the floor. One is to hear and accept the reports of the town officers, and the other is to transact any business that legally may become before the meeting. So could be a very short in-person meeting. Australian ballot, we have school and town officers. The budget is Article 4. Town plan would be Article 5, and then Article 6 is Conservation Reserve Fund. Then Article 7 is the fireworks, which might get pulled based on the discussions that are ongoing. And I think Articles 8 through 16 are the appropriations. And then some more legalese. Then we do have to decide when we're going to do. We did 2 informational meetings last year. I just took the same dates, basically bumped them on the calendar. So it was the first Saturday in February, I think last year, or second Saturday. And then the Monday right before the meeting, a week before the meeting, because statutorily, I think we have to have it within 10 days. So we don't have to decide on those tonight, but just floating some ideas out there for dates to hold the pre-meetings. And this would be where we go over the budget and ask any questions. Obviously, we can't make changes to the budget at that point, but we can certainly explain the budget or any of the other Australian ballot items at that point. So.
Anyone who's watching this later, come to the December 8th meeting,
Yeah.
January 6th meeting, more important than the informational ones, because you can make changes then.
Absolutely. So I'll keep bringing this back as things change and we can keep looking at it.
Thank you.
That concludes our agenda. All we
Our
have left,
regularly
but-
scheduled programming.
Yeah. It's like back when TV used to just turn off at 10 p.m. Whatever. Right. Grew up with like 3 channels. I remember being shocked. I went to college and like the TV didn't turn off ever. My roommate's like, what do you mean the TV turns off? Like, it doesn't turn off. It's just like, there's just nothing.
Test pattern.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, anyway.
Okay.
So I guess we have minutes to approve. We have minutes from the November 17th meeting, which I believe.
Motion to approve the minutes of November 17th.
This is David second.
All those in favor?
Art, aye.
David, I.
Adam, I.
Motion to approve the minutes of November 20th.
Second.
You want to review those minutes thoroughly? It's a long meeting. All those in favor?
Laura and I,
David, I.
Adam, aye. That meeting was like 6 minutes long, right?
About that.
personal best.
Next we have one purchase order to approve.
Mr. Chair, this is David. I move to approve purchase order number 5300 to Mount Mansfield Unified Union School District for second quarter education taxes in an amount of $2,254,208.59.
Ms. Bardow will second that.
All those in favor?
Bardow,
David, I.
Adam, aye.
Adam, this is David. I move to approve the warrants as presented.
Ms. Bardow second that.
What is your vote?
Bardow,
David, I.
Adam, aye.
Adam,
Josh.
this is David. I move
Go ahead.
to adjourn.
Wait,
hey,
you want to do next agenda items?
Go over next agenda item.
I've got sort of a list.
As much as I like the sentiment, it was slightly premature.
So
Well, we have Greystone and Southview updates.
Yes.
and we will have another pre-meeting on the 8th, right?
Yes.
So you're talking now the 15th,
So for the 15th.
where we'll have
Yeah.
updates.
Also have an update on statutory changes for stop sign.
Oh, yeah.
installation.
Stop sign.
Do we want to have a brief follow-up on the discussion between Water Sewer Commission and Housing Committee?
Think we should at some point. Yes.
15th? 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I would point out that the stormwater maintenance agreement was 20 minutes.
How'd that work out?
If you add an hour, it was accurate.
Why don't I put it down as a potential topic?
Yeah,
and then when
maybe.
Adam and I look at it next week. If there's a lot on the agenda, maybe we strike.
Absolutely.
If it's just something that looks like we can fit in, then we'll put it.
Gotta have.
But what do you guys?
At our budget meeting, the 4th of July parade and fireworks thing is gonna come up.
Mhm.
Obviously, kind of actually need to make a decision on that. Do we need to do any follow-up on the zoning administrative stuff?
No, that'll,
What's our path forward there
I mean,
as far as like his appointment? Is it?
it goes to the planning commission for recommendation and it comes to the select board for vote on approval or appointment.
Okay, so I guess once the planning commission, if they raise concerns or give an endorsement, we can go from there.
Yep, I think so.
And so we would likely have that at our December 15th meeting.
Yeah, you could, because the planning commission is talking about it this Wednesday.
Okay.
So it could be ZAO appointment.
Can we get an update? I mean, if for some reason they vote to not endorse that decision,
Sure.
or can they, I mean, what is it? Oh, excuse me. What does that normally look like? Is it just a yes or no? Or are they going to elaborate? What are?
I mean, in the past, it's been a yes, and then it comes to select board for approval. There's really been nothing else.
Their
with it.
recommendation, but we do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, in the past, it's been somebody who we've hired and they haven't had any experience with the town. We just appoint them right away to zoning administrative officer. So this is a little bit of a different process where they've been working as acting for a few months.
I mean, obviously we can all tune in and either partake in or watch or review that
Yep.
meeting ahead of time, but can we also request that they write us a little blurb about what their thoughts are? If it's not unanimous, something. And if there's a half an hour discussion about it, I would like to have
And we could,
some kind of
Summary.
synopsis
Yeah.
for us. I mean, I will watch the meeting afterwards to hear that, but it would be nice to have something to present to the public
okay.
on the select board.
Makes sense.
Just
Would their minutes work? And just,
minutes, or if they want to, I don't know. What do you guys think? I guess I don't really know what I'm looking for, but something more than a memo would be perfect.
A paragraph.
okay.
Recommendation.
It seems like in light of
Yep.
everything going on, that just a yes or no doesn't quite suffice.
Mhm. All right.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Move to adjourn.
We have a second?
Second,
We have a vote?
aye.
Aye.
I really would like to do my joke. I say, we are adjourned.